All right, so this, of course, is the big story that we are tracking on Dispatch today. This has got to do with the presidential elections in Kenya, where we're now inching closer to getting to know as to who has won the presidential election. And the country is, of course, anxiously awaiting for its new president for almost about a week, with the votes being tallied to about 80% of the constituencies. The two main candidates are having a pretty close battle. The Kenyan Election Commission has until Tuesday, that is tomorrow, to declare a winner. And the Deputy President, William Ruto, has taken a slight lead at this point of time. He is said to have got 51% of the votes. And his closest rival is the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, who has managed to get 48% of the votes. Now, both the frontrunners in Kenya's presidential race are very seasoned politicians, and one of them will succeed the incumbent President Uhuru Kenyatta. Now, Kenyatta, who's reached the end of two presidential terms, fell out with the Deputy President Ruto after the last elections and is now endorsing Raila Odinga for the position of the leadership after him. Now, earlier, Raila Odinga's supporters, remember, had entered into the restricted area near the Election Commission and had accused the electoral officers of tampering with the vote count. Now, Ruto's supporters accused their opponents of interfering with the tallying process. The riot police have been deployed inside the building to reinforce the security. The elections have also come at a time when the cost of living crisis and the soaring unemployment rates have created a lot of churn within the Kenyan society. The tackling inflation and the rising prices has stopped the poll pitch for both candidates. Raila Odinga, who is nicknamed the father by his supporters, is running for presidency for the fifth time. Now, he's promised quality healthcare and social support for the poor in Kenya, including a monthly stipend of $48 for the most vulnerable of the households. He's also pledged to revive agriculture and the manufacturing sectors and to fight corruption in Kenya. Meanwhile, the person has in fact got his nose ahead in the vote count at this point of time. Ruto, who has emphasized his connection with the ordinary Kenyans by calling himself a hustler, is in the race for the first time. He's vouched for the economic empowerment of the poor and has also promised to set up a small fund for small businesses. Now, to win the presidential race, a candidate needs half of all the votes that are cast across the country and at least 25% of the votes that have been cast in a minimum of 24 constituencies. Now, there is a sense of anxiety in the country as the disputed elections in the past have led to violence or the whole process being cancelled. Now, since yesterday, the verification of results have been stopped several times after complaints by supporters of the main candidates. Now, several prominent leaders and also organizations have been calling for patience and they've been urging the Kenyan people to maintain peace. Now, remember, in 2017, huge logistical errors had led to the Supreme Court to annul the result and order for the presidential poll to be rerun. The officials are under pressure to get things right this time. Allegations of vote rigging are also as old as the country. It was part of the politics even before the multi-party elections were reintroduced in the 1990s. But the push for free and fair elections has never faltered. After the violence that followed the 2007 elections, the political parties and activists have argued for the use of technology instead of physical registers, which can be easily manipulated to verify the voters. Now, this year's election is the third time the technology has been used. It has yet to deliver an election that has not been challenged in the courts so far in Kenya.
It's coming.
And our correspondent Coletta Wanjohi is now joining us live on this broadcast from Addis Ababa. Coletta, this is a very crucial election for the people in Kenya. But the sad fact is, never since the 1990s has there been an election in Kenya that has not been challenged in the courts. What is the situation at this point of time? Who's got his nose ahead? And is it likely that this election too could go to the courts?
Well, we're yet to see that in just a few minutes because right at the top of the hour, less than half an hour from now, the Electoral Commission is bound to give an announcement, their final announcement on who is going to be the president of Kenya. Already the agents of both leaders are at the Bomas of Kenya, which is the conference center where the tallying has been happening and the announcement will be made. And after that, we've seen the judiciary speaking out clearly and saying that whoever feels that the results will not be favorable for him and has evidence, then he should be able to move to court. The judiciary has expanded its capacity to ensure that it can be able to really respond to cases at least within the first 7 days of people complaining about it. So we hope, and Kenyans hope, that it will not go for a rerun, because a rerun means economy especially halting, because at the moment people have gone home, people are scared, people have tension, you know, because of past times. So people are hoping it will not go for a rerun, and whoever loses will really concede defeat.
Right, and also the supporters of Raila Odinga at this point of time, you know, from what we can sense on the ground, are not very happy. Raila Odinga is said to be trailing with about 48% of the votes that he has got. There were also reports that his supporters had gone inside the area where the counting of the votes was taking place. What is the information that we are getting from the supporters of Raila Odinga? Will he accept the result in case he's defeated?
Well, if we are to base from what he has said before, he said that if the results of the elections are done, he feels they'll be fair and fair, then he will accept defeat, you know. As we're talking right now, I mean, in his own stronghold, people are dancing, people are celebrating, and it's quite confusing, because also the stronghold of the Deputy President William Ruto, people are also celebrating, you know, both sides trying to prepare for celebration. So Kenyans are quite confused, and that's why people are waiting for the Electoral Commission to decide who will do. But at the moment, the appetite for violence, like we saw in different times during voting, has really gone down, because one, the economy has really crashed to some extent because of the COVID pandemic and also other issues. So the appetite for violence is really low compared to the previous seasons. Yeah. All
right, we'll have to leave there. Thank you very much indeed, Coletta Wanjohi, for joining us from Addis Ababa and getting us all of those insights. We'll of course come back to you as more details emerge in this story. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.